Hey everyone, it's Tricia, and I just wanted to talk today a little bit about why people may react negatively or abusive or critical when you are being positive or expressing something from a spiritual point of view. So keep watching. So the short answer about why people would react negatively to you when you're expressing something spiritual is because the ego is dying. Ego is dying. Now I want you to take a moment and I want you to release all of those connotative thoughts that you've had about ego. If you watch any of my content, then you will frequently hear me discussing ego and encouraging us to see ego as a partner, not to see ego as an enemy or just by and large something that is negative or bad or anti-spiritual. The ego is the component of us that wants to keep us physically alive, and that indeed is a spiritual effort. The thing is that, sorry, I'm just looking at some birdies. The thing is that we do, of course, add extra things onto the ego, misunderstandings about what is critical to being kept physically alive. When we are showing something, when we are moving forward in a spiritual way, the ego is having to relinquish control and is actually dying. Now let me give you an example about what this means on a personal perspective, in a personal perspective. Just yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about being able to think positively. So just be more positive with yourself, to be expecting positive outcome and all that kind of stuff in a genuine way, not in a false, evasive way when we're trying to just avoid our feelings or avoid our shadow or something like that. True positivity, being able to shift the habits of our feeling and our thinking states. And he was saying, it's hard, right? It's kind of hard to do that. And I was saying, well, yeah, I think it's just like starting any new habit. When you think about you are trying to get in shape, at first when you're starting to work out more and eat right and all that kind of stuff, it's actually just painful. There's really no reward. It's just all work, pain, pain, pain. And then eventually you get to a place where there is some reward in it because you're stronger and you actually might enjoy the food or the new exercise and all that kind of stuff, and you feel better. You get the reward part of it too. But at first it is just difficult, and it's difficult because on the physical level you are releasing old habits. You are breaking down tissue in your muscles. You're literally creating injury to your muscles in order for them to build up again. And then on the diet side, you're breaking habits as well, and you're detoxing. So toxins are actually flowing through your body, and then at some point the nutrients are able to communicate with you in a way that it feels really good. So that is a really great example of what is happening in the non-physical area when ego is dying, because in response to the spiritual perspective. So you're constantly needing to partner with the ego, but you want to put him in the passenger seat, and you want to let the spiritual lead. Okay, so that's what's happening there. And we never want to criticize ourselves, or we do sometimes, and that's human. But ideally, when we recognize our own ego kicking up and trying to survive, because the ego is a mechanism that is trying to keep you physically alive. So when the ego is dying, it is a belief in death. And so you're experiencing death. It's not real, because the spiritual side of us knows that we are eternal anyway. But that's what's happening when spirit or when positivity is confronting ego, death. So what we want to do is have compassion for ourselves, have compassion for the ego, because the ego is coming from a place of hurt. That's why that was created in the first place, because we felt rejected by those who would keep us physically alive. And so we created this misunderstanding, this new belief about what would keep us physically alive. It's adaptive. And we need to have compassion for that person, the aspect of ourselves, of our past self, in order to be able to heal that, in order to be able to relax into spirit, into intuition, and allow that part of ego to die. So this is what's happening when people react to us negatively. when we're expressing spirit. The worst thing that we could do is also to judge them or to criticize them or to stand in this place of, I recognize that you're being egoic and I am being spiritual. Well, let me just take you right out of that right now, because guess what? Your higher self organized that occurrence of an egoic reaction to expose your own ego. Whatever you're witnessing in that other person as an egoic reaction is indeed ego in you that your higher self wants you to see. So what we can do in that moment, we can be grateful, first of all, to our higher self, to spirit, to showing us this aspect of ourself that we have the opportunity to heal and to release. Just take that literal thing, whatever that person, if it's a troll on the internet, you can just take it and say, ask that question of yourself. Have you ever done Byron Katie's work? That she is, and if you, I'm not going to go into her work, you can just look that up, Byron Katie. She talks about turning it around. You could say, if you say that person is calling me fat, let's just say, take something stupid. That person is calling me fat. That person shouldn't be calling me fat. Turn that around. I shouldn't be calling me fat. And see if you can find how that's somehow true in yourself, that that's a script running in your mind, or it's something that you judge yourself on. I mean, that's a simple, silly little example, but you could probably relate to it. So just first know that it is about you. Whatever this reaction, this negative reaction is, this abuse, it's about you. And it is an opportunity for you to heal, and indeed for the other person to heal through you, for you to be a healer too. But first, it's about you. And the first reaction we need to have is compassion, is to find the hurt child, or even if it's not an inner child, it probably stems back to childhood. I'll just tell you that. But find that hurt person, that hurt you, that is responding to this, that created this reaction, that created this negative speak as a mechanism to protect yourself, in order to keep you perceive what the perception was, to keep you alive. Have compassion for yourself, and then have compassion for the other, and recognize the same thing is happening in them. And while it may seem that they sometimes, if not always or occasionally, that the person who's reacting to you, you think, well, my goodness, there's no way that my negative speak is that bad, or there's no way that I am projecting something like that out into the world that is that strong. It doesn't matter, because you may be wrong. First of all, it may be that abusive, that the original egoic reaction in you, the negativity, may actually be that abusive. You don't have to recognize it as that abusive. You could just take the whiff of it. You don't have to re-traumatize yourself. And I encourage you just to accept the whiff of it with gratitude, and allow the light of consciousness to come into that place, and allow it to be released, and just find compassion and gratitude. Just find a way to be compassionate and grateful to your higher self, and also to the other person for being an instrument in it. And that's all you have to do. And then what you can do, as you've received it for yourself, for the other person, is to take a moment, indeed take a breath, if that helps. It always does help. Don't worry about whatever situation it is. We always have a moment for a breath. And take that breath. Clear your mind. And identify with their light. Find their light. Place your attention upon it. Be in Namaste. Namaste means the light in me recognizes the light in you. And there's our authenticity. There's the reason that we're here. The reason we're here is to connect, sure, to be light. And so you started this interaction by being light and found an egoic response. And the light is actually doing its work. The light that you were bringing forth is actually doing its work by exposing that ego and experiencing that death. And that death is okay. And that death is beautiful. So just stay strong and centered. Because when we become judgmental, or we become condescending, we become quite proud of ourselves, well, then we're just an ego now, right? It's not the right turn to take. And we can it allows pain body to be activated, which is like an extreme form of ego that is powered by some primal urge. just take that moment and that breath and recognize your light and recognize their light. And that simplicity is all we have to do in order to heal ourselves and to heal another at the same time. And you can realize that there are collections of energy that have ego as well. We basically are drawing lines around energy when we identify anything, whether it's ourself or a city. There is a summation of that energy that has, perfect, beautiful light that we can recognize. And then there's this summation of energy that is an expression of ego. So you could take that then, you can see that in what's going on in like social political climates. Realize that it's just light exposing ego, and that the reaction is so strong and desperate because it literally is death. I think that's all that I have to say about this. Stay centered, stay in your peace, stay in your light. Recognize that every single interaction that you have is organized by your higher self, by your God essence, in order to heal. And it's not always negative, right? Even the positive incidences. The positive things that happen are is your higher self giving you an opportunity to claim your gold, to identify with your light in a powerful way, an empowered way. So thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And when you do that, by the way, boy, are you helping me to discover some gold for my own self. And I appreciate that so much, and I love you for it. And I love you for connecting. I love you, whoever you are.